Here we go.
Christian here with cheap beat up Elvis vinyl. It's right up on Christmas. So I got a co-host with me today. This is Ernie. Ernie, YouTube. That's right. I thought the same thing. So today we're going to talk about some more Elvis records. Last time we talked about LPs. This time we're going to talk about an EP and some singles. The first one is an EP, came out in November of 1957. Excuse me, Ernie. And this one, of course, is the Elvis Presley EP. Really cool looking record. Very nice on the back. Enjoy these other albums by Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley's third motion picture, Jailhouse Rock, comes at the height of the phenomenal singing star's career. All songs on Jailhouse Rock are available on RCA Records. So once again, they're hawking the new thing. Some cool pictures of Elvis there. That's that little red jacket that he had on and a bunch of stuff. I think he had that on in the Jailhouse Rock 45 sleeve. And maybe All Shook Up also. Anyway, 4 songs on here. Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me, Blue Christmas. Santa Claus is Back in Town, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Really cool cover. I picked this one up. I picked up the cover by itself for $1. But I also had this sitting around. The record itself that I had picked up for $1. So then what you do is you take... What? I'm going to show you. You take the record and you take the sleeve. You put them together like this. And you got yourself a beautiful Elvis Presley EP. That's a nice little thing, man. That's really cool. I love the EPs. So after the EPs, there were just some singles. The first one came out... Well, Blue Christmas was a single, but was a single released to radio. But they didn't release it as a single. Came out in 1957. And all they have 45s for it, but they're just promos. And, of course, I don't have one of those. Then in 1964, November 64, right before Christmas, they released it. It had a picture sleeve, which I don't have, but I will show you in a second. Blue Christmas, on the back of it is Wooden Heart, which is from G.I. Blues. So that was the first Blue Christmas that came out. This one came out in November of 64. I'll show you the cover right here. Next up, November 65, 1 year later, they put out Blue Christmas, backed with Santa Claus is Back in Town. All they did was change the flip side of it. I guess they got some sales off of that too. Why not? Is Elvis. Then in 1970, they had the Red Label gold standards. From what I understand, these red labels did not have picture sleeves. So once you get yourself a red label, you're done. Now, I was lucky enough that... oh, and by the way, it's the same old thing. Blue Christmas on one side. Santa Claus was Back in Town on the other side. I'm lucky enough that I got a copy, and I can tell because it's written right there. Look at that. Willie Nelson's copy. He wrote Willie on it right there. That was awful sweet of him. He's crazy. So anyway, Willie Nelson's copy right there. Now the other single that they had, and then in, let's see, November of 77, right after Elvis passed, they put out Blue Christmas again with Santa Claus is Back in Town. And it was on the black label with dog near top. And it did have a picture sleeve. This little, supposed to look like ornaments. Yeah, and the back is the exact same. I think they missed an opportunity there. They should have made the back a little bit different just to make it a little more interesting. You think so too? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. No, don't say that. And I got a couple copies of that. I got 3 copies of that. One time I was looking through, had a whole bunch of boxes of 45s. A buddy of mine called me. So we were looking through them, and I believe that they belonged to someone who had something to do with jukeboxes, because they had tons of those little, the little white pieces of paper that you would put in a jukebox, and they would be stuck in the records. And they would have, the records were taken out of the picture sleeves. So that's what happened with this. There were just a bunch of Elvis picture sleeves together, and the records weren't in them. The records were separate. So I got a bunch of those picture sleeves, and also Unchained Melody, like about 6 or 7 empty sleeves of that. So I picked those up one day. Now, the other Christmas single that Elvis had was If Every Day Was Like Christmas, which came out in November of '66, had a picture sleeve. Here's the picture sleeve right here. I don't have the record. I don't have the original record from '66. It came out with the picture sleeve. This is it. There you go. I'm not pointing at you. That's not rude. I was pointing at the screen, which is in front of you, you say. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not... Here's the... Want me to point like that? You're kind of testy. If Every Day Were Like Christmas was written by Red West. Red was one of Elvis's inner circle, had been with him. They went to high school together. Red was a tough guy. He could fight. And so Elvis liked having him around. And then as Elvis became bigger and bigger, well, Red was there in the inner circle the whole time. Now, Red was an interesting guy. He wrote songs. He wrote this one for Elvis, but he also wrote, I believe, was it Separate Ways, maybe? He wrote one off that album. And he wrote a couple songs for other artists. He also had an acting career. He must have befriended Robert Conrad, because he was in a lot of Robert Conrad stuff. Robert Conrad was an actor in the '60s. He had a TV show called The Wild Wild West. And Red was on a few episodes of that. And then in the '70s, Robert Conrad had a television show called Baa Black Sheep, which was about a World War II fighter squadron in the Pacific. And it was called Baa Black Sheep first, I think. And then when they syndicated it, I believe they changed the name to Black Sheep Squadron. And Red was a regular on that one. And he's done lots of acting since then. So Red West, pretty serious guy. He's been involved in all kinds of stuff. The first song that he wrote for Elvis was If Every Day Was Like Christmas. I heard the other day on the Elvis Channel 75, I believe it's on Sirius, and it's all Elvis all the time. They played Red West's, they said it was the demo of this song, If Every Day Was Like Christmas, and then they played Elvis's right after it. I don't know if it was the demo, because Red also had released a song on his own on a local Memphis label the year before, and it did okay. But then Elvis heard either the demo or the record and said, hey, that's good, and Elvis re-released it the next year. When you listen to Red's version, followed by Elvis's version, I mean, they're really, really close. It almost sounds like Red is imitating Elvis. It does a pretty good job, but it's Red singing. I don't know if that was the demo or the actual release, but it's a really good song. So, Red was, he did well on his own. So, here in 1970, this was 72, they re-released it on the gold standards on the gold standard on the red label, and it was If Every Day Was Like Christmas, and the flip side was How Would You Like to Be? Song from what happened at the World's Fair. So I reckon that was the original flip side when it came out in November of '66, because most of those gold standards, it was just the repressing of the record. So those are the Elvis singles, and since his death, they've had lots of other stuff, but yeah, me too. Ernie says he's really only interested in collecting the stuff from when Elvis was alive, and I agree. Want to thank everyone who has subscribed, and oh, that's right, I forgot. Thanks for reminding me. Ernie wanted me to show you this. There's lots of Elvis CDs out there for Christmas, and it seemed like for a while there in the 90s, early 2000s, man, they just kept repackaging them. They put a different cover on it, a couple different songs here and there, and it would be Elvis Sings Christmas, Elvis Loves Christmas, Christmas with Elvis, Elvis Has Christmas, Welcome to Grace. I think you know what I'm saying. Anyway, this one came out, and this was supposed to be all of his Christmas songs. I don't know if it was, but here's the, I used to call this the letterbox format, I believe. But the cool thing about this one was, when you open it up, look what happens. Hold on a second. You're at Graceland on Christmas. Look at that. She's a beauty. Amanda, what do you think? You have one like this? Cool. Very nice. Carrie, I hope you enjoyed that. So I want to tell everyone, thanks. We've been doing, I think this is episode number 9, video clip number 9. Number 9. So what it did? A little Beatles reference. You like the Beatles? You like Yoko better than the Beatles? Okay. Merry Christmas to everyone. Do something nice for somebody. Thanks, Elvis. Okay, fine.